Good evening and welcome to the South African of the Year Daily Show here on ANN7 Channel 405. The show, of course, where we take a look at inspiring and extraordinary South Africans doing great things around the country through the lens of reflection and progression. My name is Maps Mapunyani, and as always, I'm joined by the beautiful Hulisani Rave.
That you could be with us today. As he said, and
in tonight's episode, we have an incredible guest. We have access to the mind, the phenomenal mind, I must add.
That is true.
Of Sylvester Chauke, a marketing whiz from Soweto originally that has laid an incredible path in his sights for putting South Africa on the map as far as marketing goes, yeah.
Next door, because we're like this, right? Welcome to the show, Sylvester.
Thank you for joining us.
Are you accepting me as a neighbor?
Oh, totally.
You always try and work it in with the guests, like before I even get there.
Oh, okay.
He is my neighbor, literally.
Because it's a Protein Lily too.
But you know what, between Shawela and Protein, I think we're good together. Hey?
Thank you, Sylvester. You see, we finally meet them.
He's just saying we work well together, that's all.
Stop it. Sylvester, when I get out, check after a break. Sylvester, welcome again to the
Thank
show.
You so much. It's great being here.
Growing up and reading your profile and just reading up about you, you had parents who supported you going into the marketing and advertising field from the get-go, which is such a blessing, especially for Wanomunsu, you know. The typical careers were doctor, lawyer, fireman even was in there.
The police officer.
Police officer, but they say to you, wait again, as long as we're not what gap did you identify in the market that you saw DNA brand architects fitting into perfectly?
Stunning. I come from an advertising background, so I studied and trained in advertising and worked for some of the best advertising agencies in the country. Also realized then that there's only really about 5,000 people that actually work in advertising, meaning that 5,000 people or so influence 50 million people.
Crazy.
So I knew there was something special there. And then, of course, I went to work at Nando's as well, and then I went to work at MTV Networks Africa. So I was able to think about a career path or a new business, which was really looking at meshing all those three sort of different industries together to come up with solutions for brands who are looking for something a little bit more interesting.
And you do it so well.
You do it incredibly well. I mean, if we look at some of the brands that you've done marketing for, and you think of the South African audience, which is already in itself quite conservative, or used to be very conservative, and you're one of the people that managed to break those boundaries and those barriers. How do you manage to keep pushing it, and how do you even risk half the things that you've done in the past, because they've become pretty iconic?
Yeah, I think that the South African audience is really a special audience because, as you know, it's quite diverse. So, so sometimes to try to get something that's going to align with everybody has always been a challenge. But what I've also learned over the last couple of years has also been the fact that South Africans are happy people. You know, South Africans are really, we don't take ourselves too seriously, actually. At the core of it all. So it was actually tapping into what most South Africans are thinking, and maybe they're not wanting to say, but they're thinking that.
For sure, no, but we know we're thinking it.
Absolutely.
And you actually mentioned that famous chicken brand that you work with. How did you always push it to those boundaries without being a bit too spicy?
Oh no, we got into trouble many times, of course, in the process. But I think the business itself was really led by leaders who wanted to put South Africa on the map. I mean, as you know, the Nando story is a local brand that's now taken over the whole entire world. So they're really incredibly special. So even working for those kind of leaders, you're forced to make sure that the work you do is also incredibly exciting, and that it must also inspire other markets that Nando's are in around the world.
The Business Innovator of the Year nominee, Sylvester Chauke, is our guest here in the studio today. And if you want to vote for him and make sure that he walks away with that award come November, please go to our website, SATY2016.com. Wait, it's Juan sometimes. Sit down off guard. SATY, SATY2016.com is where you can go and vote. And of course, by voting, you stand a chance to win a VIP experience to the awards. We've been speaking to Sylvester about his company, but how about we go out there and have a look and spend a day in his life and see what it's all about.
My name is Sylvester Chauke. I'm the Chief Architect at DNA Brand Architects. I founded the company 4 years ago. We're a marketing and brand consultancy that look at taking brands to interesting spaces across the continent. So I grew up in Soweto in Protea North. and with my mom and dad, and I've got my siblings, my younger brothers and sisters, and really grew up like a typical black family in the township. You're trying to make it work. You're trying. My parents are trying to educate their kids, and we're trying to learn as much as we can, so we can actually really get out of home and start building our own lives. I come from a marketing background, an advertising background, and I worked in advertising agencies, some of the big ones like Ogilvy and FCB and DDB, and moved off from advertising to work at Nando's, and I was the national marketing manager for Nando's for about 5 years. And from there, I actually went to work at MTV Networks Africa as Director of Marketing and Communications. So DNA was really as a result of my previous experiences in advertising, in clients, as well as in broadcasting, to really come up with an interesting business that then looks into taking all that I've learned over the past couple of years and be able to infuse them in a business. We basically are an agency that really looks into creating solutions for our clients, and it be consumer-facing clients or business-to-business clients, and some personalities, and looking at how are we able to grow their brands, and how are we able to make sure that they have a good connection with the consumers that they are targeting. Work with some of the best brands in the continent, some of them in the world. Our clients are a mix between Vodacom, Nedbank, Pernod Ricard South Africa, South African breweries. We work with Woolworths, we work with Bonang Mateba, and we work with new and innovative businesses like SLG, Sifiso Learning Group, as well. So it's an interesting mix of consumer-facing brands, but also business brands. Three sort of guiding principles for us in terms of running DNA, and for me, first of all, it was really making sure that finding young people that have got the same values that I share around being excellent as young black people, being excellent as South Africans, but also really being able to deliver very, very strong creative ideas. So very important aspect. Find young people with skill that are trained, that are educated, that are able to deliver for what our clients require. We need young people, or people that have got a great positive energy around the country that we're in. We don't want people who don't believe in the country, who don't believe in the future of young people, who don't believe in the future of what's possible for to be done in the space. So we want really highly ambitious young people with the great energy that want to shape our landscape and our country. So we want to be able to contribute positively. Just to be nominated for the South African of the Year Business Innovation Award was quite interesting. When I got the email, I think I literally had to double click, because it was quite surreal, because it says a lot. Personally, for me, it means a little bit of a pat on the back, right? Because it says, oh, maybe what you're doing is noticeable. Maybe what you're doing, people are seeing some sort of value in it. And so that really gives me a good sense of we're on the right track. And if the company is this big now, I think there's an opportunity to even go even bigger and influence more young people and employ more people and grow the industry as a whole. So personally, it is such an honor and a complete privilege to be nominated in this category. And I think I'm not only just talking for me, but the people and the team that works with me. This is something that means a lot to them too, because I think it says that their contribution to what we are doing is really working. So it's not my award, it's our award. So it's really phenomenal.
Never a dull moment at all with Sylvester around. So, Sly, you go through quite a bit in your day,
yeah.
It must be said. And if there's one thing I've noticed, you're always quite quick on your feet. You think very quick on your feet. You're quite nimble in the highly competitive environment. Why tap dancing?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a clever question. Naturally, obviously, right? It seemed like tap dancing was interesting because it sort of fuses quite a number of different styles, right? Because you have to kind of know a bit modern, but also be really good on your heels. And there's a guy called Mike Flatley, right?
Yes. Love him.
Yes.
The Lord of the Dance.
Yes.
The Lord of the Dance. So a friend of mine sort of borrowed me the DVD, and I took it home and I watched it, and I thought, wow, I like this. I like this vibe. And I thought, okay, if I like it, I could do something about it. And I think that's when I started my lessons, and the rest is history.
I have to be honest, I don't blame you, because I've watched Michael Flatley twice, and you leave and you just want to tap.
I always wanted to do tap dancing.
Absolutely. It is. Dancing makes me so happy. So I guess just being able to do that and emulate whatever that they're teaching me is something that makes me really fulfilled.
Inspirational mind that we have here in the studio with us today. Of course, the Business Innovator of the Year nominee, Sylvester Chauke. He calls himself the Chief Architect of DNA Brand Architect, which I love, you know, speaking to the brand synergy and exactly what it's all about. But if you want to know how you can vote for him as well as other nominees in his category, we're going to be showing you that in a bit. And don't forget that we also have awesome prizes up for grabs. If you can spot the SATY trophy somewhere around Dini, you're going to let us know. But we'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back. You're watching South African of the Year Daily Show here at ANN7, and we're still in studio with Sylvester Chauke, the marketing whiz that owns and runs and is the chief architect of DNA Brand Architects. He's up for a nomination for Business Innovator of the Year at the SATY Awards this year, and you know what to do if you want to go and vote for him. Sylvester, all the insane ideas that go around in your mind, all the work that you're running around doing, all the clients you have to go and see. I've seen you on that laptop non-stop going through your mails. You always have to be accessible, but you have so much on your own shoulders. One thing you've always been great at is picking a great team around you. So what are those weaknesses, and how do you pick a team that actually complements those weaknesses?
Sure. Picking a team together, assembling a team together is probably one of the most important and crucial part of business, because most businesses fail because of that, because you don't have the right people on board. And I think for me, it really just boils down to inspiration. I know from my history that people that have inspired me have made me become a better leader, or because I want to emulate them and I want to be like them. So I think that ultimately for me, if there's enough inspiration going around in the office, I think we'll find the right people who want to be able to be that or try to even surpass that.
Huli, I know there's something you really want to say, but if you've ever seen his staff, they all seem to be drinking the same thing because the energy is ridiculous.
They're all in line. It just works.
Is there something you give them to get them on your level? Because I've never seen so much energy and excitement all day. I'm like, guys, it's 8 a.m. on a Monday. What's wrong?
Okay, all right. Well, in our office we have a sign, and which talks about values, skills, and the last one is energy, because there's something to be said about great energy, and so you see it, you feel it, you experience it, and whether it's energy that we experience with people, or in groups, environments, etc., and it's something that when you meet people that have got great energy, you sort of want to hang around with them. And I think maybe that I'm not giving them a potion or anything like that.
You're giving them you.
But I'm giving them
You're giving them you.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Right. Now, there's a quote that says that as long as you have the right people on the ship, the direction can change, you know, and it will always be okay wherever it's headed. Something that you're very passionate about is transformation in the advertising industry. Where do you believe the industry is at, and what needs to happen for it to get to where you believe it needs to get to?
It's an exciting time for the industry, because there's been a lot of concerted effort by the bodies themselves to try to make some really serious changes in terms of transformation. And I think for me, I mean, there's so many things I could talk about, for this 30 minutes we have here. But I think one of the biggest things is around making sure that there's enough incubation of entrepreneurs within the space, because a lot of attention is given to skills and a lot of say, black people being given opportunities to work in advertising, which is great. But it's not sustainable, because we do need to think also about a lot of black people starting their own businesses, and not only starting them, because I see them, we start a lot of businesses, but it's sustaining them and growing them to be big enough to compete in, with the industry as a whole. So at the moment, I'd say definitely young entrepreneurs, particularly businesses and businessmen who are black, need to open advertising agencies so they can be able to participate within the industry. Because it's all good and well for us to sit and moan about the fact that we're not being accepted. So I think we need to start our own and grow them enough to be able to compete.
And I think to add on to that, to just start telling our own narrative, you know, so that we're not having people speaking in funny accents, because that's not how all black people are. I'm just saying. Am I lying?
No, you're not lying at all. I mean, the majority of our country is not well represented in advertising, and I think that is quite a strange thing within such a diverse country. So I think that definitely the narrative is there. We just need people that can lead that narrative, so they're not just working for someone, but they actually are building that narrative too.
And people who are building you are the people you've been surrounding yourself around with, and they, of course, complement the person that you are, and you wouldn't be as motivated as you are if it wasn't for those people. And we were lucky enough to catch up with two of your friends, both Rendani and we
Wilco.
also spoke to Wilco.
Yeah.
And this is what they said it was like being friends with Mr. Chauke.
He calls me Gemma, and then I call him Fumi, but it's between the two of us. That's only the two of us who understand what that means.
So basically, it's a job a million boys would kill for, really, because you get to shadow him in his everyday exciting activities. You get to share in the moments of great ideas.
More than a decade ago, actually, where we watched this comedy, it was called Three Non-Blondes, and they will impersonate certain figures and people from, I think this one in particular, they have moved from Nigeria to London. Then the way the pronunciation of certain things were done, and then we quite like gravitated towards what Gemma was quite very funny, and then there was Fumi as well, which was very, very, very funny. But we just saw ourselves being mirrored towards those two characters really on Three Non-Blondes.
I think it's quite unique. So I count myself to be an extremely lucky person. Yeah, so that's the role I'm playing. I've learned a great deal since I've joined the company. It has placed a great demand on my potential. It's pushed me to go, places where I'd never thought I'd go. In my thinking, in my worldview, in my perspective, I've embraced, so many new concepts since joining.
Where I come from, you don't have friends who tell you that they love you, and I was very young, and I'm like, dude, in my head, like, how does that work? I don't come from a background where I'm told I'm loved, but actions have been portrayed, you know what I mean? I mean, very tradition, vendor, and all of that. And I've got this friend who's like, I love you so much, and you feel like, am I watching The Bold and the Beautiful or something? And it's quite it taught me a bit more about that, opening up and appreciating people, and always appreciating moments that comes into your life, and never lose any sight who are important to you and whatnot.
There's no one particular word that can just summarize what the DNA Brand Architect platform is for all that I hear. I think Sly's vision is quite clear in that the idea is to provoke greatness out of everybody. And so that's why I believe that all that I hear will eventually be at the forefront of progress, progressive thinking, leading think tanks, leading companies, advising governments, and right there on Forbes covers. I believe that, yeah.
Hi, don't forget to vote for Sylvester Chauke of DNA for South African of the Year Awards 2016.
It must be so heartwarming to hear words like that from people that you spend so much time with and your closest friends. And one of the things that stood out is that Wilco said that you taught him how to say, I love you. And he comes from a family where love is shown, but no one ever says it. How do you feel about that?
It's wonderful. I mean, what else can you say, right? It's amazing that as friends, you know, we can be able to grow each other, and it's something that I think I do appreciate. That friendship is not just to hang, but it can be to strengthen and to grow. So thank you, Wilco.
Can I give this guy an opportunity to just say something to his family? Because on national television, for all 5 TV, we're all over. Because as Wilco said, you know, we as black people, we come from homes where I love you is shown, but it's not often said. So on this national platform, if you had the opportunity to just say something to your parents especially, what would that be?
I think I'll just say, Mana Papa Kinsen go. I want to send some agree. I look below in South African of the Year, and after the correlation, as not in Leka, look Mimgan Funang say, and Kinsengov must have I'm jealous all the time. And I know Kore, you know, without you, as I'm going to be going to send Kinsengov.
And thank you so much for saying
that is so beautiful.
You know,
in the way that you did. Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Hey, imagine this story. I'm queenie because I'm not TV. But what I do know is that you can vote for this man sitting opposite us in the Business Innovator of the Year category. And of course, not forgetting that you stand a chance to win a VIP experience to SATY 2016. And this year is going to be bigger and better than ever before. You want to be a part of it. We are not quite done with Sylvester Chauke. We'll be right back with him right here on South African of the Year.
Welcome back to the show. This is the South African of the Year. We're still in studio with Sylvester Chauke. We've been having so many laughs off of air. I wish you could still be watching us from home without all the ads in between. You're missing out on a lot. But Sylvester, you have some, as I mentioned earlier, special people in your life who love to fill you with lots of surprises and add motivation into your life. And we actually have a bit of a surprise for you.
Just a teeny tiny one.
Wow.
You know, we just
surprise.
wanted to invite someone very special to you. Her name
Oh my goodness! Oh wow! It's amazing!
Hello, darling.
Oh, hello, my darling. Look how you look.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh my God, what a nice surprise!
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chaga, Jan.
Oh, I wouldn't miss this.
Mr. Jan.
Takuyi.
I'm a represent.
All that technical wasn't really that technical.
We can teach you, it's fine.
We will make you
But you'll have to pay.
Oh yeah. No,
Temi, thank you so much for joining us as one of Sylvester's close friends. You almost saw him coming up from the other side, from the client side, really seeing all the work that he was putting out. What drew you to him?
Sure. Do you remember where we met?
I do.
Do you?
Should we leave them?
You guys like to sit to yourself?
No, because I mean, he was this tiny, gorgeous-looking man, long dreadlocks, McCann.
Oh my God, my God.
Yeah, no, beautiful, rich dreadlocks, McCann, and I was a voiceover artist, and he was producing an ad.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then
Oh, my
later, Ogilvy, you know,
Yes.
I was at DSTV. You were the lead account director.
service, that's
Yeah. And then you moved on to MTV. So, and then we drifted apart because I then went to Nedbank. Yeah. And you went, yeah, it's like,
Many years summarized into like 30 seconds.
yeah.
But
I mean, Jay, because we lost contact, and Jay Bada, he was with a PR agency on the Nedbank side, and he said to me, "I'd like to introduce you to."
Sylvester Chauke.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course. Yeah.
But Tembi, after all these years, what is it that has drawn you to be more than just client and agency relationship, but you have a friendship, you have something that is really special. What is it about Sylvester?
Look, I'm drawn to his values as a person, but also as a business person. I mean, I think particularly in Nedbank, within a corporate and banking environment, it is very difficult. We've worked with Sylvester and he's helped us conceptualize some really cool, really super cool concepts that a bank would not dream of taking to market. And I think for me, there's the creative element, but there's also the discipline in making sure that it's not just the creative, but there's also the business component, that the ideas also make business sense. So I have a soft spot for him, but I also respect him as a professional. But also I've observed how, he runs his company. You're a maker of people. You really have produced, leaders. You've always said, there's something that Sylvester once said to me, and it stayed with me. When you said that there's enough space for everyone.
All of us.
And you've allowed so many people to come into your space. Some of them have left to become greater people, to become entrepreneurs themselves. And, I have no doubt that you'll be doing more. So it's about creating impact.
One word to encapsulate it all, Tembi, would be authenticity. In your work, in your personal life, in all that you are, nobody can ever get confused about who Sylvester Chauke is. You're one of those people where you can walk around and they'll be like, Sylvester did this, and you'll be like, never. Do you know what I mean? You would know because of you are so true to who you are in your work, in everything. It has integrity and you have integrity. So thank you for being that person.
Thank you so much.
Enough now.
Right now.
I hope you don't mind staying for this. This is the South African of the Year show, and of course we need to know what our South African of the Year nominee, his knowledge is on South African news.
I feel like you can help each other because, you're a client, your agency, All right,
Can't get away now. You're going to need each other.
Question number 1. Which iconic South African movie starred Leleti Khumalo and Somizi Nhlongo? Guys,
there we go.
I was about to say, trumped at the first question.
No, but you didn't allow us to breathe.
You literally gave him a split second.
Because this is like 30 seconds, people. You know.
Oh,
That's
okay.
30 seconds. Luna.
Okay, so you're counting down. It's fine. We'll keep up. Yeah.
Who was the first black ballerina in the world to perform The Dying Swan in Russia?
Okay.
Remember, we're
Kitty.
celebrating.
There we go. Kitty
We
Peck.
got this. All right.
Good hands.
Question number
Good
3.
hands.
What is the South African national tree?
Tree, a baobab.
No. Would you like to try this, Tembi?
No.
It's the red yellowwood.
The red yellow.
It's okay. You ultimately effect A1 today.
Learning.
What swimming pool object was made famous all around the world but was invented in South Africa to keep the cleanliness of your pools?
Creepy crawly.
There we go.
4 out of 4. All right. I hope this one catches you out because, this is the one that I thought, I got to save it. What is the motto on the South African coat of arms? It's in Khoisan.
Close.
Exactly.
You remember you used to hear it in the commercial?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You used to hear it in the commercials, yeah.
But
That's
4
like-
out of 5, that's not bad. 80%, guys.
She actually did that when we first
well
met,
done.
and we got along so well because we just clicked. Thank you so much for...
Wow.
And I lied. You guys got 3 out of 6 because they didn't get red yellowwood. So you got 3 out of 5. 60%. It's still a pass, but it's not at that
That
level.
last one was tough, though. I have to give it
It
to
has
you.
to be, but
last
these
one
are the
was
important things that South Africans all need to know. So
True.
that's what we're
Sylvester,
doing.
thank you so much for joining us on the
thank
show.
you.
Tembi, thank you for availing your time to come and surprise.
Thank you for inviting me
our-
to be part of this.
Thank you for the surprise. That was amazing.
Okay, we're going to let you guys catch up. Thank you, everyone, for watching at home.
This is the South African of the Year, of course, the show where we celebrate amazing and phenomenal South Africans who are making a difference in their different walks of life.
Yeah.
Ah.
No.